because you guys are all independent. The point.
Let's talk about this.
Let's talk a little bit about where we are now.
Yeah, truthfully, what the question I want to answer is specific to New York, because that's where I voted, right? I want to know.
Well, go broader first before you go into the specific question. Just
okay. Exit poll,
based on you guys
exit poll data, and election results are really far off in this election. Now, the United Nations says if it's any more than 2% off from the exit poll to the actual election data, it's fraud. Right? Am I quoting that
That's
wrong?
a position not only of the United Nations.
Right.
It's a position of the United States State Department. Okay. The State Department uses exit polls as the gold standard to determine if an election is honest. For example, in the Ukraine, the U.S. refused to recognize an election because of the deviance from the exit polls in Peru and a couple of other places, where they refused to certify elections, saying where there were exit polls, which is not always allowed, where there are and there's a deviance, that is a problem
That's a fraud.
For the U.S. State Department.
Right.
And what we saw what I saw, for example, in New York, it's very typical. You know, this happens all the time, but like I say, it's unusual when you see white Bernie voters being treated like black voters. So they're given affidavit ballots called provisionals in most other places. You had a massive number of provisionals, unreal. And these are voters, a lot of them are called, it's very complex. We have this new business in America called the inactive voter. So if you are not a machine hack, like you're not part of the Kings County organization, if you're part of the Kings County organization, you don't get a job unless you constantly vote. If you miss 2 votes in most areas, like in New York, you're now inactive. That means you can't vote. In other words, if you miss 2 votes, you can't vote. The third election, you're out. Okay? Now, you have to re-register. So people show up and they say, well, I've been voting here for years. They say, yeah, but you're listed as inactive. You're done. And what they'll do is, so if people screen, they'll say, anytime someone screens, they give them in New York, it's an affidavit ballot. Use a provisional ballot, you pretend you vote. Now, the thing is,
I didn't understand that about the provisional ballot.
And affidavit ballots is that if your name is not on the voter roll, all they can do with a provisional or affidavit ballot is check the voter roll again and make sure it just wasn't a printing or clerical error. They cannot say, oh, well, this person was removed wrongly. This person wasn't really a felon. This person hadn't really moved. And my newest one that I'm looking at is a system called interstate cross-check, where they're saying to people that you've already voted in Alabama. Because Michael Jackson, a guy named Michael Jackson voted in Alabama, and you're Michael Jackson in Texas, you can't vote because you've already voted.
Yeah.
And that's called interstate cross-check, which is
But the question is, what is it about the mainstream media that's different? I find this an egregious abdication of responsibility on behalf of the mainstream media right now to not be asking the simple question, how is it that we have exit polls across the country that are way off? Like, I remember, because we left it all on the floor in New York. I was canvassing until the very last minute. We did rallies, we did speeches, so much stuff was going on right before that vote. And I was at WBAI, New York City, on the radio until the moment the polls closed. And I got up off the radio station, and I walked, and that's alternative media, WBAI, much like this place.
They're affiliated.
Yes. Yeah, okay, you're Pacifica, right? So I'm walking out of Katie Halper's radio program, and I'm with the campaign director from the Sanders campaign, and he's looking on his phone, and he goes, it's only 4% different in the exit poll, 48-52 Hillary, and we were like, yes, because that was a win. Right. That was basically a tie.
Right.
I meant no delegates, and now
the narrative.
Now it would change the narrative. Hillary squeaks by in her home state, and that's what I know was true. Actually, I think there was other shenanigans as well, but I know
there were a bunch of
I know from talking every day to people how the vote. I just like you feel Bernie was everywhere. It was like in The Prisoner, when they're like, be seeing you. You know what I mean? Like every single person on the street was Bernie. Bernie, you're Bernie, Bernie, we're Bernie, Bernie. Right. You know, Shailene and I were at that great club where you sing Marie's Crisis until 4 o'clock in the morning, canvassing the whole West Village. Everyone is Bernie. Everyone's Bernie. One Hillary Clinton supporter, we found. Like, and in Yonkers, same thing. Binghamton, same thing. And all of a sudden, here comes, we could have got behind that result. And then all of a sudden, we're hearing exit polls are being adjusted. This sounds to me like
Edison,
insanity.
what happened is that Edison Polling, which has a contract with all the networks, after 2000 agreed, and after 2004 said, okay, here's the exit polls. If the exit polls don't match the official poll, they will then be adjusted to match. So it doesn't become a so what you need is the unadjusted poll numbers.
But this is the moment when the atom bomb should go off in the mind of every news editor, right? Every real news editor.
But they're apologizing. Instead, the networks keep apologizing for their bad exit polls. And I said, if it happened in Ukraine, you wouldn't be apologizing for bad exit polls. You say the election was stolen. If it happened in Peru, you said the election was stolen.
What I'm trying to
say. If it happens in New York, it happens in Ohio, it happens in California. By the way, you have no idea. This whole business with the NPP voters, the NPP voters, the independent voters of California, are equal to all the Democrats. Those NPP voters are Sanders people. The Democrats tend to go for Hillary, that are registered regulars. And the NPP voters have to go through a obstacle course, have to climb through tunnels and kill the rats before they can get to their ballots, and that's the big problem. And so it's two different. But we see this with voters of color all over the nation.
That's the issue I was just going to bring up. I was talking to Bruce. Is it Bruce Carter? Yeah. I was talking to Bruce Carter. He's talking about the fight to get the vote back for all of there's a couple million blacks. There are other people as well who've been disenfranchised because they've been in prison, and he's fighting to get those. He's fighting to get their rights back. And he says these people are very, very frustrated because after all, many of them are in prison unjustly to begin with. But let's say even if they're not, let me finish my point. Even if they're not, they come out. They've paid their dues to society for whatever that was that they did, and now they can't vote. And there are several million people who are disenfranchised permanently. Yeah. And to me, that's a petitioning
process. Here's the other problem.
Very serious issue.
Most states, ex-cons can vote. Almost all states, ex-cons can vote, but they're not being allowed to vote because people believe they can't vote. And the Democratic Party...
In federal elections, they can vote?
Absolutely.
How many states can they vote?
46.
46 states?
Yeah. There's only 4 states which exclude ex-cons.
And they're all West Virginia.
Yeah. Well, you've got Virginia, Florida...
I guess I have to quote Gilda Radner and say, never mind. I don't know. I mean,
but the thing is that the Democrats, I calculated that there are 9 million ex-cons who can vote, who are not registered, and they are left out of the Democratic Party. Because all vote theft and all politics is local. The incumbent party were elected by the demographic that is there.
Right.
The worst disenfranchisement I've seen in the United States is the disenfranchisement of Hispanic Democrats in New Mexico by other Hispanic Democrats, by the elite, people like Bill Richardson, who ran campaigns to knock out because vote theft is class war by other means. That's my point.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we gotta talk about films and what you're doing, what I'm doing.
Oh,
so you're taking off, or where?